evening, everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress, your weekly Wednesday night live podcast. Do we have an amazing show for you? This is probably going to be one of my favorites because I find these three girls absolutely amazing. These were three college students that I have met a while back that did their senior project and now turned it into a business. Tonight, I would like to introduce Includesign and the Lapsnap. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Tina.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
I am so excited, and I cannot wait for everybody, guys, to meet with you guys and learn what you do. So let's start with you, Diana. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I graduated from Brown this spring with degrees in mechanical engineering and industrial design. And my senior year, I met Tina at a talk she was doing at RISD about accessible design and inclusion, and just introduced myself because I was working on a project for the American Printing House for the Blind. So I've been interested in the field of product design for disabled populations for a while and wanted to do that going forward after college. I imagined doing it at a already established company. I wasn't imagining going into entrepreneurship, but we created the Lapsnap with the help of Tina and a couple of other local wheelchair users, and it just turned out to be something that needed to happen.
That is fabulous, and I'm so glad that we met. Liza, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved?
Of course. So hi, my name is Liza. I am currently on a gap year from college. So I'm anticipating starting as a freshman at Duke University in the fall, doing mechanical engineering there. So actually, I got involved with Includesign. I had seen a post on Intern from Home, a website allowing people and connecting people with companies who are looking for interns who can work remotely. So that was how I met Diana. And it was honestly, I just felt like it was meant to be. I had an introduction to design thinking and working with people who you make the products for last year, and I knew it was something I wanted to continue working with. And Diana and Includesign are doing just that. So I reached out, things went well, and here we are. I'm now helping develop our digital brand on social media, sending out different emails and communications digitally, as well as helping pick up little parts and pieces along the way, as is what typically happens in a startup. So that is me.
That is incredible. And Michaela, you're up. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved.
Hi, my name is Michaela, and I got involved actually because Dana and I both went to Brown, so I went to Brown as well. I knew her through some classes and just being at Brown together. I also am an engineer, but I have a degree in biomedical engineering, so a little more focused on biomedicine. And I actually work right now at Mass General as a research engineer. So I do some research and design for medical devices, but I was noticing that I was lacking kind of any sort of social justice impact or any sort of community connection, which led me to look around and reach out to Diana through LinkedIn, actually, when I saw some of her posts about Includesign and the Lapsnap in general. So that kind of led me to connect. And I as well have been picking up different pieces, such as Liza mentioned, including working on the product design with users, as well as some content as well for social media.
It's so incredible. Like I said, I can't brag enough about you guys, because to have a bunch of able-bodied college students in their senior year make their senior project to help people of disability live fuller, more wonderful lives. Let me tell you, my Lapsnap is right by my side at all times, and this isn't just something I had for the show. I was just literally showing the girls how I have dirt in mine because I was moving plants around earlier today. I literally use my Lapsnap for everything. So Diana, tell us a little bit about what the project is and how it became an item.
Sure. So I had a favorite professor at Brown who taught a course on the history of disability justice, who we had talked to originally. One of my initial partners in the capstone class had experience or wanted to work with wheelchair users, and I had worked with the blind population mostly before, but we decided to try and design something for wheelchair users. So we originally were thinking about luggage or something like that, because that had been a problem for a friend of hers when they were using a wheelchair. But we talked to my professor, who is also a wheelchair user, and she said that grocery shopping was like the biggest issue for her in her day-to-day life because she had to use those plastic hand baskets at the store, and it was really easy for it to get unbalanced and tip off, or if she had to go around a corner or something, just the whole thing could fall on the ground. And so we created the first very early prototypes were just, like cardboard and, canvas hot glued onto some wooden dowels or something. But both that professor and Tina were kind enough that first semester to actually meet with us, this is pre-COVID, in the grocery store and try out our various prototypes and actually tell us, what worked and what didn't work. And so we came up with the Lapsnap, and it's basically a collapsible, versatile basket that you can use, like Tina's using it for gardening. You can use it for lots of different things, including grocery shopping, laundry, gardening. I know Tina also uses it to keep her dogs out of her snacks, which I think is my favorite use that I've heard so far. But it straps around your waist or through the arms of your chair or behind your back. So it attaches directly to you instead of attaching to your chair. So it can be used regardless of what kind of chair you have.
Yeah, I actually used mine where the two side handles, I attach it to one or the other side, actually both sides of my chair. So when I'm out shopping, it's secure on my lap. So I never have to worry about whatever I'm shopping for, no matter what movement I'm doing. The basket is secured to my chair. I can also release one side or the other if I wanted to, so I can kind of slide it aside if I needed to readjust myself or move around. But the nicest part about this whole basket piece is I know you have one sitting there behind you, Diana, but I'm going to show you mine. Once it's all snapped together, I do my grocery shopping in it, and then I can wring out my stuff, put it back in, put the cover over it, and now I have a little basket where I can take put it in the car, put it back on my lap, and take it in the house. So it is very multi-useful. Liza, so tell us your piece to all of this. Like, where are the best parts that you like about all of this product?
Yes, well, one of my absolute favorite aspects is the fact that the Lapsnap was created with our intended users. So we employed something called the human-centered design process, which means that throughout the entire process of ideation and development, we were working with wheelchair users in Providence to figure out what they need. We worked with Tina. What did Tina need? She has mounds and bounds of experience that we can't necessarily understand. So we looked to Tina and others to help us understand what we needed to create in a product, how we could make it better, and she's still helping us with that right now.
Yeah, it was so much fun meeting you guys in the grocery store. I think we have that picture somewhere, so as soon as we find it, we're going to throw that up on the screen. Of meeting you guys out in the grocery store on one of the original items of the basket. But I'll tell you what, like I said, I used mine for so many different things that when I did my move, it was so easy. I could help out. I could bring stuff around, or if I want a snack in the house and you have 4 dogs, especially 2 very large dogs, you put the cover over it and they can't stick their noses in my food. And I actually get to eat my food because I can get it from the counter to my lap to the couch without them eating it in the process. So yeah, that is one of my favorite things to absolutely use it for. Michaela, tell us your piece and how you're involved and what your best interest is in this product.
Sure. So I actually had a couple years outside of college experience with product design as far as medical devices. And I think I mean, similar to what Liza said, I think one of my favorite parts is that it's easy to get a little disenchanted by medical industry, medical device industry, when the products tend to be further and further away from the actual end user. So my favorite part as far as the company in general and working with the group is just the through line of emphasis on working with the community that the product intends to be for. And additionally, I really enjoy that, again, our product is another way, and the company in general is another way that we can integrate design and engineering, which inherently can be used just towards improving people's lives in general. So to tie with that to social justice and basically making things inclusive and accessible and spreading information has been really enjoyable for me to kind of tie in together the educational piece about it, which is why I've had fun writing some of the content for our social media and researching it, because the main thing is, like, I've been able to learn alongside, you know, the people we're trying to reach, but also from the people we're trying to reach. And we've been really grateful for that, all that knowledge and experiences so far.
Yeah, and there is the picture of us using the first designs. I believe we were at Whole Foods at that time doing it. My favorite part of this whole project is how you really included the users, because you can't make a product for us without us, because the ones who are actually going to use it. And watching you guys learn the different ways of us moving around and the way that we do things during the day was so enlightening for me to watch how interested you guys were in learning about us and how we move, and the little light bulbs going on over your head going, oh, we could change it to that and we can fix it to this. And I didn't realize that, that was the, best part for me, is watching you guys be so interested, legitimately really interested in what we had to say and learning more about us. That's why I think taking this, your senior project, into an actual entrepreneurship business, just melted my heart. And like I said, I can't be more prouder of you ladies. Diana, tell us a little bit about that transition going from your senior project to an absolute business now, and how that process went and what you guys have done in the meantime.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a wild ride for me. I was not intending to start a business when I graduated. I was intending to get a normal job. But it's been a really wonderful time, and I would not trade it. It's been definitely the highlight of the pandemic for me. I got involved with the Nelson Center for Entrepreneurship my last semester at Brown when I started thinking about turning this into a business. And the two girls that did the project with me at Brown and I decided to actually turn this into a company about a year ago. And we formed an LLC in Rhode Island, and then we did a couple of entrepreneurship accelerators. So we did the Brown Bee Lab, we did Mass Challenge Rhode Island, and then we just finished the Social Enterprise Greenhouses Impact Accelerator, all of which were really, really wonderful experiences. And I got to meet a lot of really wonderful mentors who have been helping me with different aspects of starting a business, which I had no idea about, like what's the best way to do to keep track of your finances? What legal considerations does a small business owner need to think about? How do you do your taxes? How do you work with suppliers and manufacturers and do quality assurance, and all of the different parts of running a business that I knew existed but didn't really know how to do yet. And so I've been very fortunate to have wonderful volunteers and interns like Liza and Tina helping me along the way.
Liza, I find you guys so professional. I mean, you are, from the meetings that we have, the checkups, the surveys that you guys have going out to so many users, sending the sample product, seeing what else you need, to seeing how you can fix it. Tell us what your experience was going from a school project to entrepreneurship. How did that change you and your experiences?
Definitely a great question. So coming out of high school, I had never been a part of a small business like this. I've never been a part of such a collaborative and interesting project and business combo. I love to say, this is not the kind of thing that you're going to learn in school. Being able to run a business, the executive functioning, working with potential clients, figuring out how can I market this, how can we sell this, who is interested in this. That isn't necessarily stuff that's happening at school. So it's been very meaningful for me to get a real life sort of experience like this, working with a team, figuring out what needs to happen, prioritizing different tasks. So it's definitely been a privilege for me to be a part of it. I know that as a team, we've been working very hard to connect with different users across the country. As you mentioned, Tina, we had just run our user testing phase where we sent out the product to different user testers across the United States to factor in their input and meet with them to learn about how we could improve the product, what worked, and get sort of the take on how it could be meaningful in someone's life.
Yeah, like I said, you guys do incredible things. Now, Michaela, you're telling us you're working at Mass General and being part of the business. How do you divide your time, and what is the difference between working in the, per se, real world to having your say in your own business? How does that work for you in your life?
Well, I think the first thing is that Diana is very flexible. So, and we're already like comfortable around each other where I can tell her openly when I do and don't have time. That said, I think especially since people are working from home, my work itself is pretty flexible as to when I can go in. I am going in person, but I can set my own hours. And as long as I basically plan ahead, I can reach my goals for the week. So I do keep a really organized schedule. But really at the end of the day, because I enjoy doing my work with Includesign, it often really isn't something that, I dread having to do after work or taking, on my lunch break, checking in on something, because it's something that I generally enjoy doing. I think other differences, you asked about the difference between working in industry and like a startup like Includesign. I think that, a company like Mass General is very established. There's a lot of bureaucratical things that go on. I'm very separated from decision makers. Whereas I think, with Includesign, it's really nice to be in a group of other women who we trust each other with decisions and look for each other for like advice, or it's nice to just get the chance to even have the conversations with Diana about the company. And have a say in stuff is really nice. And it's like pretty unique for, I think, people our age, and I think it's like a really helpful experience to be on both sides. So yeah, I think I've really, really enjoyed having this experience to be able to talk to someone and make an actual impact on a company rather than, just working for predetermined goals. It's nice to be able to create our milestones, talk about what we need to get done, and then implement actions to get there. So I've really enjoyed that. And I haven't found it that difficult to balance because I generally enjoyed doing both my full-time job and then this as well.
It's so incredible to see such young women. And that's the nice thing I want to say is your business is all women right now, correct?
We have an intern that's a guy, but other than that, we're all women.
Oh, he's brave to be in a field of women. I give him a lot of credit. But it's just nice to see such young women making such a true impact on the world. Because let me tell you, the people that I know that have used this and that have seen this product, it is changing lives. It has changed my life. It has made the day-to-day juggle and fight to do different things so much easier. Like, I don't know how, honest to God, and I'm not saying that because I've seen you, because Diana knows I've been involved in this from the very beginning. I don't know how I would get through my day without mine, honest to God, because I use it for so many different things. I do not know how I would get through my day without mine. That you're making lives easier for wheelchair users who may just be becoming wheelchair users, who may be just starting up and, trying to figure out how to navigate their wheelchair. This is a whole other thing that they don't have to worry about. It's already invented. It's already created. Diana, tell us a little bit about the goals that you have for the Lapsnap and the business. Like, where would you like to see it go?
Sure. So the Lapsnap is the first of many products we hope to create. I say that my pie in the sky, 20, 30 years down the line dream for Includesign is to be the like IDEO of products for disabled populations. I want to continue working with different disabled populations to create more and better products. For the Lapsnap itself, we're hoping to launch our Kickstarter to sell pre-orders of the product within the month. So stay tuned for that, and subscribe to our newsletter, all that good stuff. I'm sure there'll be links later. But I want to basically, I didn't think I was going to be doing this, but now that I'm doing it, I pretty much want to do it forever.
Yeah. Like I said, I can definitely see your ideas going down the road, and Ramp is always going to be a huge supporter of you guys, and your links will be on our website. So people who know about Ramp will be able to get to your websites through our website, because we are going to promote people who do things that you do. Liza, tell us a little bit about where you would like to see the business go and your role.
I definitely, I'm with Diana, to see Includesign functioning as an IDEO. IDEO is a product design company that works and employs the human-centered design process. So again, working directly with end users, and IDEO specifically, they work on products as well as services. So I think that's definitely something and somewhere that we would like to go as a company, to work with more people to figure out real solutions to actual problems that people are having. Because how can we understand the problem without talking to people who are experiencing the problem? So we hope to sort of branch out and address lots of different types of disabilities, to work directly with people, to figure out how we can improve their lives, whether it be the small things like grocery shopping, like the Lapsnap addresses. There are so many little areas that aren't considered. So Includesign is taking a stab at trying to be more inclusive, and to make the world more accessible to everybody, because that's really how we all win and move forward.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Michaela, I got a tough one for you. Being at Mass General, I'm sure you see disabled people there, and being in Includesign, actually making a product for a disabled user. How does that make you feel? What does that do for you as a young person to be in both worlds, seeing the disabled people struggle and now having a product that would help them? Where does that center you for your life?
I think that there's like two sides of it. I think the first side is that oftentimes I think there's like frustration when we identify and experience and hear stories of these things that can be solved by, we are pretty transparent in the fact that we, identify that, the Lapsnap is not crazily innovative, and there's nothing, no new technology that's very, very complex. So I definitely get frustrated in the fact that there's often many simple, elegant solutions to things that just people haven't asked the right questions, or the voices aren't in the room. And so kind of how that ties into, comparing with Mass Gen and how that makes me feel. I often sometimes feel frustrated, but also very grateful for the people who have been fighting and already are fighting to get their voices heard. For instance, there are people within MGB, so the Mass General Brigham Network, that do focus on accessibility. And so, for instance, even with COVID, we're talking about masks and wearing surgical masks. For those who use sign language and sign, having expressions is very vital to their communication, from what I've learned. And I took ASL in college, but also just speaking, I was part of some task force at MGB. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's been really interesting, and I've been really grateful to hear experts in the field who are seeing them actually speak up and be able to advocate for patients, and seeing some of that space actually open up in the field has been really, really nice to see, because I think a lot of time those voices aren't heard. So for instance, masks that have a large clear opening around the mouth, and the first iteration of that, for instance, may be too small, so it kind of misses the mark, because the person designing it may not know that you have to see the full mouth, because it's actually important to communicate. So I think things like that, there's kind of a mix of frustration that, you know, not the right voices are being heard, and the space isn't there for the people who have been rightfully screaming it for years. But then I am grateful again to be able to learn from people and be in the room and be able to help in any way I can, kind of make those ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, I think it's great because I know the math that you're talking about where you're inclusive people who are deaf, they read lips. So you need to have the facial expression, or they have the shield. I have them all,
Right.
because if I'm going out and I'm being an advocate for the disabled community, you have to be accessible. Here we're going to do a quick little show of hands. How many of you actually have a family member who's disabled? None of you. How many of you have actually had a friend who is disabled or in a wheelchair? None of you. So, both of you. All three of you? The thing is
oh yeah, sorry.
What made you decide that the disabled community needed this? Because like you said, this isn't high-tech technology. This is a shopping basket that's changing lives. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not overly expensive to do something like this. What made you guys decide that the disability community needed this? Diana?
This product specifically came about from a conversation with a friend of mine named Sarah, who is a wheelchair user and identified grocery shopping as a really difficult thing for her. And originally the school project was just, okay, well, Sarah has this problem and we're going to make a solution for Sarah. And that's how it started. And then Sarah said, okay, well, this is really awesome. And you should meet other people who use wheelchairs because I think this could help them as well. So I reached out to Tina and said, hey, we've been working on this thing. Would you mind talking with us about it and seeing how your experience might be different from Sarah's and see if it would be useful to you? And Tina was kind enough to meet us and, like I said, show our early prototypes. And at the end of that first conversation, I think Tina's quote was, hurry up and make me one. So the positive feedback from the community was really what encouraged us to keep going and make it into a real thing that exists.
Yeah. And just to throw it out there, Sarah is on the Governor's Commission of Disability with me as well. So I know Sarah and she is incredible. The difference between me and Sarah is Sarah uses a manual wheelchair where I use a power wheelchair. Liza, did you find a difference in the reactions to people who use a manual wheelchair to the people who use a power wheelchair with this product? Did it work for both? Did you find, or what were some of the interactions that you see?
That's a great question. So the Lapsnap has been successful for people who use both. One of the main takeaways of the Lapsnap experience is the fact that it's a hands-free product. So whatever your hands need to be doing, whether it be operating the manual wheelchair or the motorized wheelchair, the Lapsnap allows users to confidently do both.
Yeah, because you could either strap it around your waist, or you can strap it around, like I strap it to the two side handles on my power wheelchair. Sarah, I know, straps it around her waist in the manual wheelchair because she's got to propel her wheelchair forward. What has been the experience, being that you don't have a family member in the disabled community, meeting so many people in this community? Do you find them, be honest, different or less intelligent, or, you know what I mean? Like, were you like shy to approach us? Were we hard to talk to? Like, I really want to let people know how to communicate with our community. Diana,
do you mind if I take this question?
Oh yeah,
go for it.
I just had an initial reaction to that because something that I've been thinking of is just the natural way that people who have disabilities, whether just across the board, are forced to be natural innovators. So I think that just because of the way that we live in an inaccessible world for the most part. So, you know, people who need to basically figure out how to navigate the world, whether it be literally or figuratively throughout their life, I think they already have experience in figuring out how to make it work for them, figure out how to get from point A to B, that working with people from the community it has not been difficult to, I guess what I'm trying to say is that already there's so much that people who are having these lived experiences can bring to the table that I think it's been not simple, but I think it's been nice to actually get that information out there, and all you need is a connection. So I think that none of the negative things in my experience has occurred. I think for the most part, it's just all you need is to make the connection to people. And then another thing I'd like to point out is that, eventually one of the goals in the future is to be able to make sure that those who are sharing their lived experiences and taking time out of the day to speak to companies such as myself or people or such as ours, or people who are doing similar things with, basically having consultants from the disabled community. I think it's always important to talk about, compensation and making sure that the time is appreciated and that's clear from the beginning. Because I think that, we're talking a lot about people who are able-bodied. I'm able-bodied such as myself, but I think that, those who are sharing their lived experiences deserve to be paid for their time and contributions they're making towards a product or any sort of other campaign going on.
Yeah, I think that's great. I want to hear, now that you brought up another question for me, how do your peers, feel about you making or having a business for the disabled community? Or how do businesses, when you approach them about this product, how is the interaction?
I can take this one. We've definitely been a little bit of a mixed bag. I think I talked to our team in terms of, we have two audiences that we have to, pitch ourselves to. We have a novice audience, which is people who are maybe they're business people or they're mentors of ours or they're friends and family that they may be experts in their field, but they're novices when it comes to disability issues and accessibility and all that. And then we have our expert audience, which is people like Tina and other people who are involved in the disability community or are disabled and, know what we're talking about. So those are very different pitches. I think with like the expert audience, they don't really need the problem explained to them. They're like, yeah, I get it. I live with this every day. I'm where you're at. Like, tell me about your solution. Whereas the novice audience, a lot of times they, I wouldn't say don't believe us, but there has been some hesitancy or some pushback of like, I don't really think that's a real problem. I remember one like investor type person said like, oh, but like, how do they even get to the grocery store? I was like, they drive there, or like they roll there, like, the ways that other people get there. But we've definitely come across some ignorance and some bias when talking to the novice audience. But luckily our expert audience has been very much on our side and very positive the whole time. So that's given us the motivation to keep going and explain ourselves even better, ideally.
Doesn't it amaze you though, when you're talking to that novice and they don't see the inaccessibility, they just don't think that we have lives? Like, I can't tell you how many times people will say to me, why do you want to go out after 5 o'clock? The doctors are closed. Like, do you think my whole life is going to the doctors? Like, I want to go out to eat. I want to go have a drink. I want to go dancing. I want to be with my friends. But it's mind-boggling to me. The people, has it opened your eyes to other inaccessibilities about getting into a restaurant or noticing the bathrooms, or has it opened your eyes to other things? Liza, why don't you take this one?
It definitely has. Sort of just being involved in a project like this makes you look at the world a little bit differently. One of the things that Diana and I and Michaela always talk about is, how is the Lapsnap different than other things out there? And one of the first things that we go to is just a grocery basket, or one of the carts that they have available at the grocery store, or one of the motorized carts that they have available at the grocery store. And somebody might think, hey, that's great. There are options. There are things that people can do. But each one of those has drawbacks. So one of the things that I myself originally didn't even think about is the fact that maybe somebody doesn't want to leave their wheelchair, their personal wheelchair, at the front of the store to use the motorized wheelchair that's available there. That means leaving essentially like your computer at the front of Publix, which is a crazy thought and not something that people should be doing. And it's unfair that that is the solution that's provided. And so I'm most definitely thinking about the fact that there are other areas that could use addressing as well.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you say that, because my wheelchair costs $40,000. I don't get a new one for 5 years. That's if I can afford one and my insurance company says, okay, it's time. I'm not leaving my legs per se at the front where anybody can mess with it at Walmart or Target. Like people like just leave it here. Or during COVID, I'm not touching a basket, or I'm not touching one of those blue things that everybody else, I've already immune compromised. That this is my own personal basket that makes my life easier, that goes not only through the store, through the register, back to my truck, back in my house, where I don't need anything else but this Lapsnap. You know, it's things like this, but it just amazes me how many people will say, oh, the ADA has been around, that accessibility shouldn't be an issue. But you guys see it yourselves. How many one steps are there? How many businesses we still can't get into? How many bathrooms have that pretty little wheelchair sticker on it that my wheelchair doesn't fit in the bathroom? They're like, it's handicap accessible. Look, the sticker's there. I'm like, the sticker doesn't make it accessible. Sorry, it doesn't work. So like if I went to Walmart and I stuck a wheelchair sticker on one of those blue baskets, is it automatically going to be a Lapsnap that's now accessible to me and easy to use? It doesn't work that way. And it's amazing that you guys are seeing this, like I said, in your pitches, that how many people are ignorant to the fact that disabled people work, disabled people shop, disabled people have lives, they want to go out and they want to do things. What is your biggest takeaway and your biggest aha moment, I would say, during this? Diana, why don't you go first? I'm going to go around to all of you, but Diana, why don't you go first?
That's a great question. My biggest aha moment, sorry, I'm having a hard time thinking of one. I feel like it's just been a constant journey of aha moments. One that you just made me think of earlier was we had first worked with Sarah in the grocery store, who's a manual wheelchair user. And one of the things that she identified as having trouble reaching things on higher shelves. So she'd had to like use a grabber or use get one of those spoons or something and like knock it off the top. And then we went with Tina, and we were like, okay, Tina, like, what do you do if you have to get something on the high shelf? And Tina just has like elevator chair, like just starts going up. And suddenly she's taller than all of us. That was something I had no idea about before I met Tina.
That is so funny when you ride through the market, because what I'll do is, like, especially like a smaller market, I'll do all of the lower shelves and then I'll put my chair up and I'll go back through the market to do all the top shelves, because I mean, it's like a turtle with one leg to put your chair up and down. So like you had to do that every aisle, to pain in the butt. So like I'll do all the lower shelves, and then when people see me riding around with my chair all the way up to the top, and then they'll be like, I didn't know, like, how do you get in or out of that chair? Like, it doesn't stay like this. You know, like it's just so funny to watch people's faces. Or one guy actually said to me, oh, I just saw your twin, she's in a chair almost like yours, but hers is a lot lower. It's me, it's just my chair is now higher. It's amazing to watch people's reaction. Liza, what has been your aha moment?
Definitely. Also a great question. It's been, to me, the biggest piece has been the fact that just working together with people has so much more of an impact than anything that we could do by ourselves. Whether it be working just collaboratively on how we're going to word something for the website, or to something as large as working on a product, where we're working directly with people with disabilities, directly with wheelchair users, to make something that's meaningful for them. So the idea that the collaboration piece allows us to progress so much further and to make so much more meaningful impacts and products than we could by ourselves.
That's great. Michaela, how about you?
Sure. I think that one of the aha moments, and I think that it's maybe not just one moment, but it's something that I have to actively remind myself of, is that it's not about me. It's not about the person who's designing it, who isn't like living this experience and isn't the target audience. You know, there's lots of ways. I think this might be actually where some products go wrong that are initially designed to increase inclusivity or increase accessibility, is that you fail to kind of, you know, check your own privilege and check your own wants at the door, because at the end of the day, if you're saying you're going to make a product for a specific person, you know, then that's what matters, not what, you know, not some cool, you know, some cool engineering thing you want to do with the product, or some like really cool feature, or it doesn't have to be cool, but your own ways that you want it to go. That doesn't matter. You know, it's taking your own, it's really honing in and reminding yourself on, you know, the end of the day, the product that's actually going to work and be what it says it is, and actually make a positive impact, is the one that through the entire process, not just the initial idea, not just the problem statement, through the entire process and iteration, has input from the community.
Yeah, that is great. And one of the things that, like, one of my rules to say, if I work on a project, is I don't mind helping you with a project, but you either, at the end of the day, need to turn that over to your next class so the product keeps going, because you cannot get a wheelchair user excited about a product. Because if Diana never made me this, I would be wanting the crap out of her, honest to God. You can't get somebody excited about a product and then just let it go. You need to either pass it down to another class so they can take it to the next level, or like you guys, start your own business and keep this moving forward, because you see how impactful it is. Diana has put me in touch with another classmate from Brown that I am now working on a project with them about moving a wheelchair with your head. So I'm excited to work with them. But again, I said to them, if you're not going to continue this on after the product, you need to make an end product where you pass it down to the next class. So I just think that's so great, because I've worked on accessible desks, I've worked on accessible clothing, I've worked on accessible things, but you can't get somebody excited for something and then not follow through or make it for them. Because like I said, Diana knows I would haunt her. She would be making me one of my own if she didn't make me one. I told her that from the very beginning, like, when's mine? I still don't have my rhinestone studded one as of yet, but it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm working on it.
But I mean, that is the whole thing, is to see something through to fruition, and to seeing the difference and the impact that you're making on somebody's life. Like I said, I don't know how I would get through my day without mine anymore, because it's such a vital part to my day now. I just don't know how I would get through. Have you come up with any other ideas, going forward?
Sure. The next thing that we want to do after we release this product is we want to make a smaller version for a lot of a lot of people told us that it was too wide for their wheelchairs. If they have a slender model, we made it to fit the more like average size wheelchair, but either people who are really thin or children, etc. And also one for walkers, because a lot of people who don't use wheelchairs or use wheelchairs sometimes, that are ambulatory wheelchair users, also use a walker, and they also don't have a good way to carry stuff because they need their hands to use their walker. After that, the next idea that we haven't started working on, but I'm really excited about, is through the product development process for the Lapsnap, we met a lot of quadriplegics who said, I can't use the product for this and this reason, or I would use it this way, etc. But we did ask about grabbers, because that was something that Sarah had indicated to us was very useful for her to get stuff off top shelves. And for those of you who don't know, a grabber or a reacher is basically, it has one end where you can squeeze, and then the other end will clamp onto something on a higher or lower shelf. And so thinking about how we could make one of those that would work for quadriplegics, because a lot of times they can't do the squeezing motion that the current grabbers require. So thinking about how to do that with different methods would be something that I want to work on in the future.
That is so awesome. I like I said, I could not be more proud of you ladies and so excited for this and so glad you're making this a business because you're truly changing lives. Like I'm not just saying that. You're truly changing lives. We're going to start with you on this one, Michaela, and we're going to go around and what is the most important thing since we're coming to the end of our time? What is the most important thing about Includesign that you want the audience to know?
I think I wanted to know that we're not done receiving feedback. We're not done growing the community. So I think the most important thing is that if you know somebody or you think you know somebody through secondhand that you think would be interested in contributing or reaching out, to either share their lived experience or even just interested in the product itself, to point them in the direction of our company, to check out our website, contribute to our Kickstarter if possible, but also, getting involved in social media and word of mouth is also extremely valuable and extremely important because we really want to reach an audience and we want to increase the audience we can reach because, information is really powerful and something that, everyone should have access to. So whether it be through social media or just word of mouth, I think that's something that's really important and I hope people take away from this.
Liza, what is the most important thing that you want people to take away from this?
Michaela definitely said it very well. I'll just tag on to that we are still learning and that we are always going to be learning. So we're grateful for your help, anyone who's listening's help and contributions to our learning and the learning of the greater community as well. We appreciate your feedback, your comments, and your contributions to our process. And we continue to hope to be a community that serves you and all of us.
Well, Diana, you know the question, honey. Let's see. The website you do so while Diana's talking, we're going to cover the website.
Yeah, that's our website. At the very top there, you can sign up to subscribe to our newsletter. We just had our first monthly newsletter come out, and you can learn more about what's going on in the world of accessible design. And stay tuned for updates on what's happening with Include. And yeah, I think like Michaela and Liza said, the most important thing is we want to continue working with people every step of the way. And we know that we're not experts. We are just people who are really passionate about what we're doing and really excited to keep learning. And so, we're not afraid to have people call us out and say, hey, I think that you should actually do this differently, or I think that it would be more effective if you said this instead. We really appreciate that feedback, and we really want to continue to grow our knowledge of the community, our knowledge of people's needs, and learn more about what people need. We really love working with our various wonderful user testers and other people who have done interviews with us and help contribute. And yep, you got Rand right there on the top, one of our most important partners. So we're really just pleased every time that we can work with people from the community, help us make our product and our company better.
That is absolutely incredible. And give the website.
The website is thelapsnap.com, LAP, snap, SNAP, and our Instagram and Facebook are at include.design, inclu.design, and yeah, I think that's all of our links, right, guys? You can email us at thelapsnap@gmail.com.
Perfect. Like I said, definitely. And if there's anybody out there listening or watching this show, if there is a product that would make your life easier, please reach out, because they have now started this company and their whole idea is to make life easier for people with disabilities. So if you're blind, if you're a quadriplegic, if you know what I mean, whatever disability that you have, if there is a product out there that you would like to see on the market, please reach out to these ladies, because I'll tell you, they will make it happen. They will make it work. They are incredible young ladies. They are go-getters. And I can't be more proud of you. And there's also a spot on your Lapsnap to hang your red bag. I know you guys have left that, because I hang my red bag on my Lapsnap all of the time. If you don't know what our red bag is by now, it's carrying all of your medical information on you at all time and non-tick. To grab yours today, go to www.inclusion.com, click on the red bag and grab your red bag for you only today. But if you get a Lapsnap, we may even include a like in your Lapsnap part of buying the product. You'll be able to get the Lapsnap launch right from our site at Ramp. We will have a link on our website, so that way you will be able to get Snap and you will be part of Includesign, and you will be able to be in all of these wonderful young ladies going forward. Again, so much, ladies, for joining us tonight and telling us all about you guys. Here is all of your contact information: the lapsnap.com, Includesign, and the lapsnap@gmail.com. Make sure you reach out to these ladies. You will not be disappointed with ideas, with products, if you want to help out. Again, ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am so proud of you. I know we have so much going forward that I'm really looking forward to working with you. And I can't be prouder of you guys. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Just for our listening audience out there, I want to remind you to make sure you join in with us next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. We will be talking dementia training for life with Lori Mans. She will be in charge of the dementia training, and I am so looking forward to this conversation next week. So make sure you join us again next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and have a great week, everybody. And like I said, check out the Lapsnap. You will not be disappointed. These ladies are absolutely fabulous. Have a great night, everybody.